3 reasons you didn't get hired. After interviewing thousands of candidates and having to decline many, I wanted to share with you in this video the common characteristics between candidates who are successful and candidates who don't get the job. So by the end of this video, you'll know what to avoid so that you can reduce the number of interviews you need to attend and increase the number of offers you get. If you're new to my channel, I'm Amri Celeste, an HR recruitment specialist and a career coach with over 9 years hiring experience. So if you're looking for a job, keep watching. Have you ever been to a job interview knowing that you have the skills, the experience, the qualifications? I mean, it's a perfect fit. You get along really well with your interviewers and then you don't get the job. What went wrong? There are an endless list of reasons that candidates don't get hired. Things like not knowing their CV, lack of relevant preparation, dressing inappropriately, not demonstrating a clear understanding of the job, swearing, interrupting, not switching off their phone, answering their phone in the interview, not asking questions or asking the wrong questions, not giving enough detail in their answers or giving way too much, not listening to the question being asked, poor communication, which could include talking too fast, too slow, mumbling, turning up late. And this is just to name a few. Eating and drinking. Yes, I did say eating. I have actually had a candidate coming into the interview finishing off their chicken and chips. I could go on for several hours, but this video is about narrowing it down to 3 common areas and learning how to avoid those pitfalls, or even knowing that they are pitfalls, as there are many candidates who aren't aware of how they come across in an interview. So first up is a lack of passion or enthusiasm. Sometimes when I'm interviewing a candidate, they can come across disinterested or bored. And this is normally unintentional, but you need your interviewer to get excited about your skills and the idea of working with you and what you can bring to their team. You need to be memorable, and that means you need to find a way to get across your enthusiasm. Things like your tone of voice, eye contact, body language such as nodding, sitting up straight, even your handshake. These all demonstrate non-verbally that you're alert and eager. In fact, your entire interview demeanor should be practiced at least once before your interview, and I mean a minimum of at least once, because most of us are not aware of how we come across. If you've ever heard a recording of yourself and cringed or been surprised, it's because we're not used to seeing or hearing ourselves the way that others do. I know that I had this experience when I started creating YouTube videos. So let me give you an example of this. Once in an interview, I asked a candidate to elaborate on what interested them in the role. I wanted to find out a little bit more on what made him apply and what interested him about this area of work. His response was a shrug. Now I know that interview nerves can kick in, so I tried to help him along by asking some follow-up questions to give a clearer idea of what I wanted to know and why. And again, he shrugged. After the interview, I gave him honest feedback. I told him, before your next interview with any company, think about not only why you want to work there, because you will be asked, but also practice your answers to common interview questions. I know that would have made a really big difference, and it's always really clear when someone hasn't done this. You could be interviewing at 100 other companies. When you're in your interview, you need to be enthusiastic and engaged with that individual interviewer, and it needs to show. Even with your answers, don't give things like salary or location as the only reason that you're interested. You want to be the candidate that can reel off things that really struck a chord with you about the company, key things about the role that align with your skills, and areas of the company that you found impressive. Even sneak in a cheeky compliment if you're comfortable. So for example, years back, I was being interviewed and I clicked with the interviewer. So I told her, I really enjoyed the interview with you and I really feel like I would enjoy working with you. And when I started in that position, she told me that she remembered that in my interview and she was really flattered. So think about how you can get across your enthusiasm. So 2 is not answering the question. Now this can sometimes happen due to nerves or brain freeze, lack of preparation, forgetting what the question was, or some candidates simply want to share information that they think will get them the job instead of answering the question that the interviewer has asked them. If you don't answer the question that you're being asked, your interviewer can't assess you against relevant skill sets for the job. So you need to demonstrate that you have listening skills. I'm going to show you an example of how easy it is to miss the question in an interview. So let's say your interviewer were to ask you, can you give me an example of a time when you improved an existing process or implemented a new process? A candidate might answer by saying, I have actually improved many processes in the time I worked at company X. I increased profit by 7% and even received a recommendation from our head of department because of some of the processes I've been involved in. This doesn't answer the question, and it's a bit annoying to the person who's trying to assess you. The manager's asking for a specific example of a time when you improved a process, not a general statement on the fact that you improve processes. Here's an example of an answer that would have addressed the question. When I started at company X, they still use paper registration forms to register customers. I saw that this could have been improved, so after speaking with my manager, I spent a little time each day working closely with Department X to build an online form that customers can use to register. This form replaced the paper forms and is now officially the new process. Once you've given this example, which has answered the question, you can then include any benefits or financial gains you made for the company, if there were any. So an example of benefits in this case might be, the online form was user-friendly and simple to navigate, so it created a better customer experience. It also meant that we were analysing what was on the form and cut it down by 50% because much of it wasn't necessary. So that means that online registration only takes 5 minutes for customers, whereas previously it took 12 to 15 minutes. And customers can also pay online, so we don't lose the opportunity to register a new paying customer. Another benefit might be that the lack of paper meant that the new process was environmentally friendly. One of the other key benefits was that you got to work with another department more closely while building this online form, so you built up new working relationships with another internal team. And so on and so on. There are lots of other benefits you can add on. I recommend using only 1 or 2 of the strongest so that your answer isn't too long. So that is an example of how you can include things that help to sell your skills and experience in addition to answering the question. Have you recently been interviewed for a job? Let me know in the comments some of the feedback you've been given. 3. Lack of preparation. This is a cardinal sin and critical error. I covered this in my last video, which is dedicated to interview preparation, but it's so important, and I would say it's the most common reason that candidates don't get the job they interview for, so I'm going to cover it briefly here. I also created an interview prep checklist, which covers the most critical areas of interview prep, which you can download in the description below this video. Now, poor interview prep applies to candidates across all seniority levels and industries, whether it's a junior role or head of department. I've even interviewed HR professionals who would be interviewing in the job that they're going for and still didn't prepare for their own interview. So it really does apply across the board. Some of the most common mistakes I've seen include lack of company research. If in an interview you're ever asked, "What do you know about our company?" you should be able to speak for at least 1 to 2 minutes on what the company does and why you would be interested in working there. An answer that I hear from candidates who haven't prepared is something like, "Oh, you're a payment company or a media company or a telecoms company." They might know 1 or 2 products, but stacked up against a candidate who can clearly explain what the company does, why they're interested in working there, and seems really passionate and enthusiastic, there's no competition. They stand way out against other candidates. If a candidate has come through an agency, sometimes they might say, "The agency didn't give me any information," but it's down to you to research the company before your interview because you'll know which company you're going to interview at. Not understanding the role. If you're interviewing for a job, you must understand the job description, and it will put you over the edge to ask questions about anything that isn't explained in detail because it shows that you've read it, you're paying attention, and you're interested enough in the role to want to understand it as much as possible. When you don't know a decent amount about the job, it indicates that you're simply not interested enough, but it also shows a questionable amount of judgment because how would you know the interview is worth going for unless you really understand what the job entails? Not knowing your own CV. Your key skills and the way you communicate them in your interview is the deciding factor on whether you or another candidate is best suited to the job. So it's critical that you know your strengths, key skills, and what you can bring, even include any transferable skills. You should be able to answer the questions, why should we offer you the role, or what do you feel you could bring that would be a significant contribution? If you don't know how to put a CV together or what to look out for, then you'll find my winning CV guide helpful. This is a step-by-step guide on building your CV, the type of achievements you should include, and a sample CV is also included inside the guide, which you can download for free by clicking the link below this video. So to recap, make sure your interest, passion, and enthusiasm for the role come across in your body language, knowledge, and questions about the role. Always focus specifically on the question asked and be sure to use relevant examples in your answers and add in any benefits or wins that you gained out of the situation. You must be prepared for your interview in advance. This includes researching the company and memorizing relevant parts of the job description and of your own CV that help to sell your skills. Earlier, I mentioned my interview prep checklist video, which is a deep dive on interview prep, which you can watch here. Thank you so much for watching this. I hope you got value from it. If you did, tap like, subscribe for more videos, and I will see you soon.